Things are working.
Huh?
Things are working.
A little bit. My
Yeah.
ears are not, evidently. I'm just old. I'm old. I shall wear my trousers rolled. Hey, what's up? Welcome to the North Wright County Today podcast. I am your host, former ink-stained wretch Mike Schoemer, founder, editor, proprietor of North Wright County Today, the website and the podcast. New website coming soon.
Sweet.
I know I've been saying that for a few months. I thought this would be a lot easier than it has been. It has been a big process. I don't know why. I'm, thinking it was going to be easy. This is 2026, 2025, 2026 era. Nothing's as easy as we think.
Every other podcast I listen to tells me that Squarespace makes it very easy.
Squarespace, yeah. No. We are not doing Squarespace.
Well, there you go.
Hopefully Aaron, my guy, did not choke on his coffee after that. No, we will continue to be a WordPress site.
Okay.
But we're going to have a little bit of different look. We got a new logo coming.
That's right.
Yeah. So
Exciting.
not this. This logo will stay. Yeah. But the logo for the website itself will be changing a little bit. And really what I'm trying to do is put the old stuff on the new stuff. So
there you go.
Then you'll be getting a letter from me. My advertisers, thank you again to our sponsors. We'll run down them later about some of the different looks and feels of the advertising on the site.
Yeah.
But yeah.
All right.
So, and joining me to my left, who has already chimed in with a couple of his trademark wisecracks, is El Presidente Nick Shultz, Deerwood Bank, golfer extraordinaire, St. Michael soccer superfan.
Not golfer extraordinary.
No, just extraordinaire.
Extraordinary, yeah.
So
There's a distinction.
right. We play golf. We are not golfers. We play golf.
I enjoy.
Yes, absolutely. So it's going to be a little while before we do that.
We are, but I've been getting requests to sponsor golf tournaments in the mail at the bank, which means we're getting there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I was thinking that the other day. I'm like, we're literally probably, 6 to 8 weeks before things start thawing a little bit. And,
I think
and feel a little like the sun's angle is a little
Yes.
bit better lately, and
Yeah.
some of the stuff's coming off the road.
I
Not
heard,
the 9 inches of salt, but
Right. It is very white out there on some of those roads and parking lots. I did hear this week that we are 2/3 of the way through meteorological winter as of right now.
all right.
Yeah. So
I
1/3 to go. You guys can do it.
I need this last third to go as quickly as
Yeah.
possible.
Not like the 4 months of January.
Yeah, I was just going to say, it is January 121st today. Welcome to almost the end of January. So as we say, there is light at the end of the tunnel. Yeah, it's a good day here in the old Selfie Company studios here in historic downtown Albertville. Shout out to Sam Pfeiffer, who has not been able to join us lately, but allows us to use the friendly confines of Selfie Company studios.
And a little plug for Sam. I heard this morning, I was at a chamber breakfast, that the women's networking event for the chamber is going to be at Selfie Company coming up here.
Oh, that'll be super fun.
Yes.
Yeah. And Sam, another shout out. We'll just get our Selfie Company studio sponsorship right out the gate. Another shout out for Sam. Valentine's Day, guys. If you're looking for something kind of fun and cute, she's got some studios set up for that. Also, check out the women's podcast that she's starting. I think you can find that on Selfie Company's social media page. So, shout out to Selfie Company. Check them out on Facebook. Bit of a sad week. Multiple reasons why. Obviously, the larger regional things that continue to happen around the Twin Cities, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But we want to kick off the show with a salute and a tribute to really a cornerstone of the community, and that's Joey Dehmer.
Yes.
Joe, of course, of Dahmer's Meats and JNB Meats fame, passed away. I believe Monday the 26th. I believe it was 86, which is not a bad run.
No.
Talk about a guy who probably made the most of it, right? I remember doing a story on Dahmer's when I launched North Wright County Today back in 2014, 2015. I caught up with Tony, his son, of course, and his daughter-in-law, Amy. Tony and Amy Dehmer still, kind of run the business with their kids. And Amy kind of offhandedly mentioned to me, yeah, Joe loves, packing the sausage, doing the deer sausage this time of year because it was late fall.
Yep.
Deer harvest, of course, was happening, deer hunting, deer harvest as they, do the deer processing. He loves it. He'll be back next year.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe at the time, if my math is correct, Joe was 73, 74, 75, somewhere in that area.
Yep.
And he's still hustling back to get back for deer processing.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
just kind of the guy.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and I read his the story of his life that was published not so long ago on the Dahmer's page, and man, he covered a lot of ground.
Yeah,
in the
absolutely.
course of his years.
Served his country.
Yes.
I believe in Korea. Came back, worked with his father at the meat market, and then, of course, helped start J&B with his friend Bob Hageman.
Yep.
And J&B, I always say it's no name, but everybody knows the name. And,
Yes.
and it's just become a staple here in St. Michael, an incredible job provider, innovator.
Mm-hmm.
You and I have been through it many times, whether it's for Chamber of Commerce events or Economic Development Committee, from the cold storage stuff that they do to the distribution and all that.
The coldest tour I have ever been.
There are not enough layers. This is true.
They literally manufacture wind chill in the deep freeze in order to flash freeze things.
Right.
Yeah.
No truth to the rumor that they just opened the garage doors last weekend to do that. That would not be sanitary.
But no, Joey was one of those guys. Even though, I didn't know him real well, we kind of knew each other, and just was always very quick with the "How are you doing?" handshake. Just a real gentleman, real hard worker, and just a great guy all around.
Yeah. Served St. Michael as mayor, as fire chief. Now, granted, back in Joe's day, St. Michael was probably only about 250, 500 people, so you just kind of took your turn. But no, I'm kidding. He did serve as fire chief and a volunteer firefighter for a long, long time, and also, of course, involved in the city government and just the economic development of the community. American Legion, and of course, the St. Michael Lions would not be here without guys like Joe.
Yeah.
And the Lions Club has been so essential in really, I'll tell a little story. When I, became familiar with the St. Michael community, people in my hometown of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, who had their roots in the Twin Cities area and were in my neighborhood, when I mentioned that St. Michael was a connection now, they're like, "Oh, the beer stubby."
Yes.
And in fact, for a present one year, my neighbor gave us his old 1970s, I believe it was 1976, 1977, 1978, set of four. I don't remember the other year, but they were all glass.
Okay.
Beer stew.
Oh, wow.
Mugs.
Wow.
And just these beautiful glass pristine. He had them behind his bar.
Okay.
And they were not the recycled plastic of 2025.
Yeah.
They were the glass mugs from the old school
Yeah.
celebrations. So, and of course, Joey was a huge part of those.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so shout out to Dehmer's. Dehmer's Meats, one-time sponsor of North Wright County Today. We've always had a great relationship with them. Obviously, a destination meat market for people who know the area well. And Tony and Amy have really carried on the community aspect of what Joe did with the tailgates at the football games, and which they've surrendered some stuff to some other businesses, but that for a long time, I'm thinking back to when the games were at what is now Middle School West. You could see the smoke pouring from the field as Tony worked the grill.
Yeah.
So the burgers and dogs, those are all Dehmer's, and of course the church celebrations that they've given, donated their product to, and now of course St. Michael Days and Nights, which they're both very involved in.
Yeah, and then Joey's grandson Andy also at the meat market. For those that don't know, Andy has a bacon recipe that's available for sale that won grand champion at the Minnesota State Fair.
Right.
Also known as like the highest honor I think you could probably achieve in bacon making, I would think.
Right. Yeah. I mean, if you're a meat market in Minnesota, that's the one you want, right? Is to be recognized at the state fair. And so their bacon is phenomenal, and their brats, of course, everybody knows. And if you can't get there during store hours, they were the first in the community to have a meat vending machine.
Yeah, otherwise known as the meat chine.
Did you make that up? Or
no, it literally was on their Facebook post. Yeah, no credit goes to me.
Because that seems like something you would make up.
Yeah, I did. Don't go trying this, but I did get delivered 2 items of bacon when I bought one from the meat chine one time. There was a malfunction, so I had to go in there on Monday morning and said, "Amy, I owe you $8." The machine gave me 2 things of bacon when I only paid for one.
I'm glad you went back in. Because if we said that on the podcast, Amy would be texting you.
Yeah. Where's my $8?
Hey, that's $8 plus tax.
Yeah.
Carry the 4.
Yeah.
Nice. So, salute to Joe. Salute to the family. Services will be in mid-November. They're on the website.
February, I believe.
Or November. Mid-February. I'm really fast-forwarding.
Yes. Skip summer.
Right. Mid-February, I want to say visitation on the 16th, services on the 17th, of course, at St. Micah Catholic Church, which will be full. So if you want to stream that, they will have it on YouTube. That'll be a community event, to say the least, there. So, Joe had struggled with some illness over the last few months.
Yep.
And, salute to the hospice nurses who took care of him and those people do just amazing work. So, some businesses expanding around town. We've got Guardian Angels. If you've been over that way on County Road 18, huge expansion. That would be to the kind of northwest of their existing building.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that. Did you guys get kind of the overview of that and that expansion?
So because it's in Albertville, technically, we didn't have visibility on the St. Michael EDA, but just professional curiosity, watched some of the Albertville minutes. And, it's going to be very nice, and I think we're very blessed in that we have 2 very great institutions between the Legacy and St. Michael and Englehouse and Albertville that have done a really, really good job of caring for our seniors.
They pretty much, when they opened Englehouse about a decade ago, tipped their hand and said, we'll expand.
Yeah, if
And
you
now
had
we're
driven
here.
by, you would have noticed that the lawn next door was already very, very flat. They had done the earthwork kind
Right.
of around the first time around for the most part. So yeah.
It still astounds me that we can drive by, it'll be 20 below wind chill, and they can put in footings.
Yes.
And they're doing that right now. So that will open, I would assume, later this year.
Yeah. Yeah.
So really
I was
cool.
talking to a bank customer. Some may know her, Carmen Robeck, and
Carmen.
if you know Carmen, man, she just goes, and
Yeah.
and she's living at Engle House now, and just mentioned that she just loves the fact that there's just so much to do there as far as activities. She said that just if you wanted to do something every morning, noon, and night, you could be doing an activity if you wanted to. And so it's just been a really positive experience for her, she said, living there.
Carmen and her husband, who
John.
is John still with us?
He is.
He is, okay. Were neighbors of ours.
Okay.
Back in the old 54th Street days over there. Yeah, they're not too far from there.
Yeah.
And the smile when that opened on their faces, it was like, okay, we know where we're going to go.
Yeah.
So you're right. As far as a community resource to have something like that, it is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Also, kinder care. It looks like
Signage is
cruising right along.
Yep.
And that little area back there with Millennium Dance Company and of course, Summit and now kinder care. Just one of those areas you're like, they're putting that where?
Yeah.
And it's become a real hub back in there.
It has, and I it may or may not represent the last of the available land in Albertville with minus one lot that I happen to know of. But there hasn't been a ton of space to expand in Albertville for businesses, but that little pocket, you're right, has taken shape over the last year or so.
And shout out to Andy and Christine for this building here that we're in today, because it really looks like it was a catalyst for those.
I think so.
Those buildings are very much carbon copies.
Very much similar style.
Yeah. So,
and we do have one new business looks to be opening in St. Michael, and this is an interesting one because it didn't come through EDA, it didn't come through City Council, and because it frankly didn't have to. But
which is rare.
What was Lucky Pets? You remember?
Yes.
Right near Marksville Metals, and is now going to be the cannabis company.
Right.
And before people get angry and email the St. Michael City Council for approving it, they didn't.
Right.
The way the state law worked was that if you have less than one dispensary per 12,500 residents, you cannot say no as a municipality. So it's not something that the city approved or necessarily would have marketed for. It is going to be here, and it's not open yet, but I think it will be.
Yeah, I saw the signage up while I swung by your bank the other day, and I was driving by it that day. So I would assume that it looks like with the space and the things they have, or the resources they have, it will be a little bit of everything.
Yeah, I believe what I was told is that the back will be a grow facility with that space, and then there'll be retail in the front.
You wonder about, and hopefully we'll learn more from these folks as they proceed, the security as far as like,
there is that,
because when you look at, prairie restoration, of course, years ago, I believe I was still at the Monticello Times, which would put it about 2009, 2010 when they got the oil, the permits to grow and do the oil, the cannabis oil, which was, of course, approved for medicinal use long before we got here with recreational.
Right.
We were given tours of that facility, and we're talking, 12-foot high fences, barbed wire on top.
Yes.
If you're driving 94 between Albertville and Monticello, the bright light you see on the right side of the road is the grow house, is the greenhouse that Prairie Restoration owns.
Yeah.
And they have been affiliated with a couple of different companies that do you take the pill with the oil in it.
Mm-hmm.
Great, resource for people who take it medicinally. This, of course, will have the recreational
both
aspect to it, and will be the first of its kind that I know of in Wright County.
Yeah.
I don't believe Buffalo has a dispensary.
Not yet. No.
Elk River, of course, and other communities. I believe Rogers is also in this conversation, although they don't have the mandatory 12,500 people yet. They're getting there. Are looking at doing it through, and we've talked about this before. We talked about it with Jeff O'Brien when he was on the show, who's our legal expert when it comes to cannabis and beer.
And distilling.
Yeah, anything really recreational. They will look, well, Elk River is revisiting it a little bit, but they are going to look at doing it through the municipal setup that they already have with their liquor stores. Again, you wonder about security, things like that, as far as, but you can't argue that is a great resource for revenue for.
Yeah, I think from a tax revenue standpoint, the thing that complicates it a little bit in my business life is we as a bank are federally regulated.
Mm-hmm.
And so there are ways you can do cannabis banking, but it's not something that I would see. Certainly my bank would not be an early adopter of this, a little more conservative business approach. But on the city's side, because they sometimes can receive federal dollars,
right?
You have to set up like a separate LLC for that city to derive only tax revenue out of the sale.
Mm-hmm.
And then that LLC continues to just operate independently of the city, so the city doesn't jeopardize any federal funding.
Do you know if that's how they do it with the liquor funds?
That is how they're doing it in. I could tell you that's how they're doing it on the Native American reservations that are selling marijuana now.
Yeah.
As far as the THC beverages, that I don't know.
Yeah.
And it could be that they have those munis already set up like that.
And of course, that all hangs in the balance of the passage of the big beautiful bill, which kind of put its thumb down on some of the THC.
Yeah, so we'll see kind of how that all plays out. It's I think one of those industries that's going to be kind of rather quickly evolving over the next probably 24 months.
And there's just disagreement all over. It's a bipartisan agreement and disagreement all over on that. So TBD, but definitely look for some new resources in that sense.
Yeah.
We keep efforting our friends at Backhand Brew.
I just was going to bring this up. I went there for Rotary on Tuesday.
Sweet.
Yeah, that was one of the fun things I got to do this week. And really cool spot. You have the coffee bar.
Yeah.
And then you have 4 pickleball courts, as well as like a lounge area with a great big TV. I think I asked, and I believe it was 90 inches. Was the television on one side, smaller television on the other side, with a seating area, like cafe seating. But really neat story. Two friends, neighbors. One always wanted to run a coffee bar. Her background was in coffee for the last 10, 12 years. And his background was, I love pickleball. And so it was like they were neighbors. They get along really well as spouses. They mutually play Mario Kart together. They mentioned and just
that's
said,
awesome.
One of these days, why don't we just do this? And the space at B&D Plumbing came up, and I had the Cozy Toasty for lunch, which was apples, a fancy bacon, cheese, along with caramelized onions and honey mustard on a ciabatta.
Nice.
That was real good. And then the following Thursday, so yesterday morning, I went there for a coffee and a breakfast sandwich. The coffee is great. The breakfast sandwich was delightful. I've been very impressed up to this point.
I have seen a couple posts on social media saying it's the best coffee in town. Now,
I will say I believe it's called a shot in the dark, is perfect for a guy like me because it's your coffee plus an extra shot in there. I was thoroughly enjoying my loan committee meeting after drinking one of those.
Sure.
Like, I'm actually feeling awake.
Nice.
This is wonderful.
Nice. So yeah, we're gonna get those guys one of these days.
Yeah.
So yeah. But it looks like that's another new business that's really kind of taken off. So we're gonna shout out one of our sponsors. Well, a couple of our sponsors now. We're gonna kick it over to some of our sponsors, and we're gonna say what up from Stellus Health. Stellus Health, StellusHealth.com. Neighbors caring for neighbors with locations in Buffalo and Monticello, both right next to the hospitals in those communities. Of course, used to be here in Albertville, St. Michael, but they have consolidated over there. They care for you, same-day appointments. You can do telehealth. They've got podcasts, blogs, all the resources you need. Call up, talk to a nurse, and they'll help you with everything from obstetrics to orthopedics to just regular sniffles and flu, which has finally kind of crested and I think is kind of fallen down here. But Stellus Health, StellusHealth.com. We love those guys. Neighbors caring for neighbors. And, of course, our friends over at Deerwood Bank.
Hey.
What's shaking?
So, sad news.
Oh, no.
Our friend Shar is retiring today.
Oh.
Yes. After the recording of this, I'm supposed to go get beer for the retirement party, which we're having in the lobby after the doors close. She's been with the bank now for, let's see, they moved in 2020. Call it probably 23 years, 22 years.
Okay.
She's been with the bank. As soon as the bank had a drive up, they instantly poached her from Highland Bank because she was always a drive-up teller. Mm-hmm. So when Great Northern Bank moved into its new location in 2003, she moved over with it. And I can't say enough about Shar because she's one of those rare people that just everybody loves, universally loved, but then also just her engagement with customers and their families is something that you just probably don't quite see a lot these days anymore.
Yeah.
You know, people would come through the drive-up, knew the customer's name, knew the kids' names, knew the dog's name in the back seat. You know, like just an incredible human. And so we're extremely happy for her that, you know, she's going to get to play grandma, kind of full-time now. But, it's sad for us as a group that we're going to miss her a lot.
One of those people that makes a neighborhood bank a neighborhood bank.
Oh, 100%.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So beyond our sadness, we have had some good times too. I may or may not have mentioned that for the second year in a row, we just recently received a 5-star rating for best regional banks in Minnesota. We have worked really hard to both match products, services, and just the overall feeling of banking with us with how we'd want to feel as a customer. And so far, seems like it's working out okay. Mm-hmm. And then, fun stuff that I got to do. Got to go to a chamber breakfast this morning over at the Block in Rogers.
Right.
That
Good
was
spot.
delicious. I am still kind of full. It was a lot of food. But just a really neat spot. Got to see a lot of folks in the business community this morning. In 2 weeks from today, this is one of the things that really lights up my world as a banker. I get to go to the high school and teach in careers class.
Nice.
Yes. And
you might see a specific Schoemer kid
sweet.
in that class.
Yeah, I believe my own son is in the class as well.
Oh, okay.
So I did forewarn administration last night at conferences that I was going to bring frisbees and footballs, and it was also it was also Friday the 13th. And I'll be handing these frisbees and footballs out in first hour. I'd forward the administration that there might be some disciplinary action that they'll need to prepare for. But
there might be shenanigans.
Yes, yeah. But that's one of my favorite things in the world is to I mentor a student over at Wright Tech in the CEO program, and
Yep,
then I get to speak with kids in the high school, and it's a ton of fun to tell them about banking, even if it's not something that they're particularly interested in. Maybe they're interested in, law enforcement. Financial crimes enforcement is probably one of the fastest growing areas
Sure,
of any sort
sure.
of banking. So get to talk to them about different things that they could do, potentially with a career.
Yeah. Our mutual friend Chris Getch does some of that stuff.
Yes.
Awesome. So Deerwood Bank located off Melby Avenue, off 241 there. The bank building in St. Michael.
Right by Backhand Brew.
Right on. Hey, I got to do something super fun this week, so I just want to talk about that a little bit. It is one of our neighborhood schools over in Otsego Elementary, which is the oldest school in Otsego, and by oldest, it's not that old. We're talking last 30 years, but it is the more established school in ISD 728 in Otsego, and they were recently named a blue ribbon school by the Minnesota Elementary School Principals Association. So we learned of that. I say we because my real job is with ISD 728 as a communication specialist, but we got to hang out with the kids and celebrate that Blue Ribbon Award. We had Representative Michelle from MESPA there, and the kids got treats and little T-shirts and celebrated that. But really what it is, it's just a sign that Otsego Elementary is doing great work. Its teachers just, go the extra mile. And it's just a, great resource for kids in that growing community. So shout out to them. Shout out to Principal Kelly Kadla, who has been there over the last few years and was really the driving force behind that application. They have to apply and get reviewed and do all that, and kind of show what you're doing that's special and makes you deserving of the award. And only a couple schools get it each year, so pretty awesome. And Otsego Elementary has always been one of those kind of hidden gems. It's the building itself is an award winner for its green, for its environmental friendliness. It's got a heat pump, so there's no forced air in the building. It's all natural heat, radiant heat, and just one of those beautiful neighborhood community schools. Excuse me, that has just some exceptional teachers and staff that do great work over there. Math scores, English scores, always among the best in the area there. So give them a shout out. We were able to celebrate, like I said, Wednesday morning and had the superintendent over there. And of course, Eddie the Eagle was on hand to do some fun stuff. So
now, if you're a student at this elementary, I would encourage you to petition to your director of communications for a pizza party.
They got snacks. They got some snacks,
That's
which
a
is,
pizza party,
is what we
Michael.
do. We give them pizza like every other Friday.
Do you guys still do Book It?
They get there. Book It is no longer. There are other programs to encourage summer reading and things like that. But yeah, how many of those pan pizzas did you have?
That was the only reason I was reading. Was get that personal pepperoni pizza, buddy.
You know what I really needed? That was college.
Yes, that is true. Yes.
There was a Pizza Hut Express in the Comstock Memorial Union at Minnesota State University Moorhead. If it's still there, shout out Dragons. I spent a lot of money on the pizza and breadstick.
Yeah, and let's face it, I should have been reading more than I was in college.
Right. Well, there's that too. All right. We're going to give shout out to a couple more sponsors. Craig Renz and his crew over at Solution Counseling. Craig and Caleb off Highway 241 and Thielen Drive there. They've got more than 24 now therapists and friends over there ready to help you with your mental health, because in this community, we believe that mental health is just as important as physical health, especially when you're on the 221st day of January, right? Did you know that like 15,000 people have gotten help over there? That's like 2/3 of the entire STMA community. And again, it's just because of the value of mental health. And so check them out at getsolutions.org. They just, or getcounseling.org. Sorry about that. Getcounseling.org. That's our friends over at Solutions. They can introduce you to a therapist for your family. If you're a couple and you want to go through some couples counseling to make your relationship better, they can do that. They do therapy for kids, families. You can do that in the building or online. Getcounseling.org. Check them out. And Peggy Shum. Guess what I'm going to say? Nick, say it.
It's tax season.
It is tax season. And if you're anybody, we talk about how business owners all year round is tax season. But if you're anybody, right now is tax season. You got those W-2s in the mail. You got them online in your email. Print them off. Get all those forms. Get a hold of Peggy Shum and her team and get an appointment on the books for 2026. They have, it is the coolest thing. I've talked about it before. They've got the little folder. Peggy tells you all the papers you need to print off, put together, all the receipts, all that stuff. Put that all together. You can drop it off. You can make an appointment and go through it. They'll do it for you and get you your return quick. E-file. I think we can still e-file. Not quite sure.
Yeah, I think it just opened this week.
There you go.
Is ready.
You can e-file. You can do it the old-fashioned way. You can fax it in. I don't care, man. Just get those taxes done, unless you're Sam, and then you're going to get the extension, or me. Let's be honest. And then you can take your time. But check her out, cpapss.com, or visit them in the bank building on in Town Center down there, right next to the old Chipotle, or Starbucks, or whatever else tickles your fancy over there.
Yep.
But they're up on the second floor. Peggy Shum and Associates, they do a great job. And like we say, it's tax season. All right. We're going to close the show with some of the heavy stuff that's going on. It's tough out there, gang. It's, we've had our second Twin Cities resident who has been shot and died due to the results of those wounds from ICE operations in the Twin Cities. That action doesn't only limit itself to the Twin Cities. We've seen operations all over the Northwest Metro. Look, you can, we've talked about this personally. We've talked about it in a podcast that I didn't post a couple weeks ago, just because things are changing so quickly. It seemed actually out of date before I even got it up on the website. You can, feel how you feel politically. You can align yourself with whatever. One, nobody wants to see a resident gunned down in the street. I think we can safely say that. Take the politics out of it, take the situation out of it. Nobody deserves their life lost in the middle of the street. Second of all, there's a lot of people struggling and hurting, and I'm just going to encourage everybody to support local businesses who may be struggling with a lot of this. You know who they are. I don't have to spell it out for you, but there's a lot of fear, and you can laugh at that if you want. If you're that kind of person, then this message probably isn't for you. But I think, as a community, we've seen some remarkable things over the last 3.5 weeks that show us what a special place this is. The way neighbors look out for neighbors, and the neighbors want to help neighbors. And we had, 200 and some of our neighbors gather at Town Center for a candlelight vigil on Saturday. The faith communities have gotten involved. Both Alleluia Lutheran Church and Westbridge hosted people on Saturday evening, and it was the main topic of discussion last Sunday. People are hurting, and in the sense of humanity, in the sense of greater community, we want to help those people that are hurting. So North Wright County Today will be sharing some of those resources to help people, because what's happening has a real negative impact on our communities. You can't deny that, whether it's construction, whether it's restaurant, whether it's any of that stuff. Our jobs are being interrupted, lives are being interrupted, lives are being changed drastically. And our job as a community entity that informs and tells people what's going on and shares some of our opinions is to get that information out there. So we will be doing that. I will continue to use this podcast as a way to tell you what's going on around town. If you don't like what you hear, you can change the station. But I think, anybody right now will tell you what's going on it's gotten out of control. It needs to change. I think anybody would agree that anybody who's broken the law deserves to pay consequences for that. However, that interpretation of what that means has been totally corrupted by a system that I don't think any of us saw coming.
No.
So.
Yeah, I think just and I try not to be too political, but just one of the things for me that I've always had a hard time with, even as a young person, was when I saw someone being taken advantage of by somebody who maybe was in a position of power. I just, for whatever reason, that's always elicited a very kind of angry reaction from me.
Right.
And I think that's probably my predominant feeling for over the last couple of weeks is just you're seeing things that we held pretty dear as Americans, specifically constitutional rights regarding when you can enter in somebody's home, how you can interact with somebody as law enforcement. And I'll say, me personally, I don't regard a lot of what was happening as, I don't recognize that as traditional law enforcement. And
traditional law enforcement doesn't recognize that as traditional law enforcement.
And that's one of the things that upsets me so much is I have friends, college roommates that are police officers. I go to Rotary with a member of the Wright County Sheriff's Office. Like, they are good people that care about their communities, and their job depends on community trust. And, and the actions of others are eroding that trust because people tend to then lump everybody who's wearing a badge together. And that's upsetting to me.
Yeah. And I think, as Minnesotans, we look out for one another. We've been through it the last 5 years, with some of the things that have happened, in our communities, some of the changes that we've seen last 6 years. And this is just another one that's really testing our resolve. And, I had a friend of mine reach out the other day, and he said, I don't like the, if this is the way you feel about it, don't talk to me. However, there is a morality at play here. where maybe I don't want you to never talk to me again, but I think about this one, there's a right and wrong. And, I'm probably not going to convince you, and if you feel a different way from me, but you're not going to convince me either. Like, I know what I'm seeing. I know the messages that are being shared in the light of what I've seen, and I know that there have been lies told by people in really, really high positions, and that is not okay. And, I think in the interest of time, because, it's a podcast and we only have so much, we need to see change. We need to see change from our leaders. We need to see change from the people on the ground and how they're conducting themselves. We need to see real change in how this process is conducted. I don't think you're going to find anybody who is out there that is going to say, that sex offender who is in Carver County Jail serving time and is an illegal immigrant shouldn't be deported. Like, those are the worst of the worst. Those are the people that you're looking for. Those are the people that, frankly, over the last 12, 16 years, have been deported in record numbers. What we haven't seen is this complete disregard for humanity. And I think that's the key word, is humanity, and the lack of it shown in some of these processes. And that's why you're seeing people have this, huge emotional reaction to it, where you have 50,000 people in the street when it's 20 below. So, I'll join the chorus in begging for some change, so we can find a better way to do this than what we've seen over the last 3 weeks. I don't believe this is who we are as a country. I don't believe this is who we are as a society. I don't believe anybody out there thinks that people should walk around carrying papers, And I think if you can sit back in your Barcalounger and say, well, if they're, not illegal, they have nothing to fear. I think there's plenty of evidence that shows us that the contrary is true. There's people out there who are living in fear, and for good reason. Yeah.
I think when you see, and again, I don't want to get too off into the weeds here, but an administration calling things a targeted operation, but then people making random stops of people asking them where they're born, that you're not looking for the answer that they should be giving, which is, am I a citizen or not? Do I have status or not? What you're asking for is, where were you born? If that answer is anywhere but the United States, they're using that as probable cause to detain you, saying there's been an immigration violation. Prove me wrong.
Right.
And that's there's people in my family that if they answered that question truthfully, they would get detained.
And again,
despite having citizenship.
All the papers in the world.
Yeah.
You could have all the papers in the world. And again, that circles back to our friends in law enforcement. Mm-hmm. That is not law enforcement. That is not how the process works. Yeah. It's not prove me wrong.
Well, in state and local law enforcement, they don't have arrest quotas either.
Right.
Where you have to pay back your bonus if you don't make 8 arrests a day. I don't know anybody in the world that could make 8 arrests a day.
No.
For actual crime.
Right.
Yeah, but
right.
Again,
that's another thing. That's another one of those factors that needs to change. It just removes the humanity from it, and people become numbers. And we're going to speak up. I personally and what we do, we're going to speak out against that. So. Look for community resources. We have churches all over. I can think of a few off the top of my head. Word of Peace Lutheran Church. My friends over at iWest, we've had Leah Colby on the show. They're collecting things for families in need at this time. So I think it goes back to our general message. Let's be good to each other. Let's be good humans. Let's find ways to do this better, because right now it's not. This is not our best, and we need our best right now. So,
yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for letting us do this harebrained idea I had about a year ago. We are coming up on 1 year doing this, and check the website for some of the events and stuff that we usually talk about. We'll be back with those hopefully next week.
Yeah. Question is, have we gotten any better at this over the course of the year?
I feel like we have.
It feels more natural.
It feels a little bit more like a conversation instead of reading stuff off a screen, which I think I was really doing in the beginning. But it's fun to do this. It's fun to keep you guys informed. Every once in a while we share our opinions. That was one. But yeah, be safe out there. Have a wonderful weekend. Stay warm. Warmer weather is coming and some snow, but we can deal with that.
Yeah.
And be nice out there, everybody. Be kind. Thanks.